Um, Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Super Fun Spirit Experience podcast with Kelly McClure. We are rejoined today by one of my favorite new people, my new favorite people, Sunshine. Hi.
Hi guys, how is everybody? Hello, hello, hello.
How are
I'm a
you? That's the
clairsentient. I'm a clairsentient, so even when I ask how are you, I can kind of feel everybody's energy. I'm doing good.
kind of
How are
already
you?
know,
Yeah, I
huh?
tap
Well,
into a collective.
I'm doing great, and thanks again for touching on this topic a little bit more. We're going to be talking about the topic of twin flames and soulmates. And if you haven't heard our last podcast, Sunshine and I worked together on that one, and that was really interesting. So I think we just barely touched on it, and I wanted to try to get you lined up a little bit better on the screen. Somehow you keep going away. Are you there? Do you hear me? Oh, there you are.
I lost you there.
Yeah. Okay. So last time on our previous podcast, we began the topic, and there was just so much to discuss. I really wanted to finish up and do some more. It was really
Awesome. I'm so
fascinating, and
excited.
I think I even have other things to talk about since that.
Okay.
So if you listeners out there, if you haven't heard podcast number 54, please go back and listen to that, and then re-listen to this one. It'll make a little bit more sense. So, Sunshine, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us what you do again, and we'll go from there.
Hi guys. So my nickname is Sunshine, but my real name is Dina. I'm a psychic medium. I'm also a channeler. I actually tap into spirit guides, and I kind of stumbled on this as I was going through a spiritual awakening a couple of years ago, and I've kind of always had these gifts, but they've been laying dormant during my childhood, just because I grew up in a cultural atmosphere and a very strict religion. So, but as I got a little bit older, my gifts started to appear, and so I started to really hone in on them. And I've been kind of on this journey for the last 4.5 years. So I have a Instagram that I do free live readings on, and we tap into your spirit guides. I'm actually a shadow worker. I'm a channeler that taps into people's shadow energy. So I would be considered what in the spiritual world would be a Hayoka empath. So I actually tap into people's pain. I tap into their energy in regards to like shadow, what they've been hiding, some traumas. I can tap into past lives, so it's fun. It's definitely
Yeah, sounds like a blast. No, I know that you're familiar with my Centaur work, and I think that's kind of what I do when I work with people on those levels. And the way that I just to go off topic again, because we always do, because it's just so cool. There's so much to talk about. But what I kind of perceive as the shadow work is, wherever your consciousness is sort of a continuum of the evolution of your own spirit. And so wherever your consciousness is kind of overall, it would include lower vibration traumas and experiences and memories and parts of you that have developed out of these situations. So character traits and things that that might resonate on a lower vibration, and you can have all that included in your overall consciousness, even though you might feel like a pretty happy person all the time, or most of the time. You might still have stuff going on that causes you really to, I think, react or to approach situations differently than you would had if those were all clear. So that's kind of how I see that kind of shadow work as well. Um,
Yeah, I agree with
so
you. I think that I consider that the 1.0 version of yourself, which is, the lower vibration. I mean, you actually are a very contrasting being. You have light energy and shadow energy, which would be your dark energy. So, absolutely. And it's very important in your spiritual journey and in the twin flame journey to tap into your shadow energy so that you can understand who you truly are.
yeah, I think a lot of twin flames are separated so that they can be working on that process, so that the emergence
Absolutely.
can be complete rather than just keep bouncing off each other every lifetime.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
mean,
glad you actually brought that up. So one of the misnomers about twin flames is that they're alike, and actually they're just mirrors. So twin flames are actually, one will embody the light energy, which is the feminine energy, and one will embody the masculine energy. It doesn't mean that they don't have the masculine and feminine individually within them. It just means that one is more predominant in one versus the other. And so the other aspect of this is that one will be predominantly in that dark, low vibrational energy versus the other one. And so their whole, evolutionary process is how do they get past a lot of their dark energies or their low vibrational energies. So
Hmm.
if a lot of people out there are thinking twin flames are the same, we look the same, we act the same, there's actually major differences in the two. The one consciousness that split itself in two has done this for a reason. So there could be major differences such as age. There could be an age gap. The woman could be older than the man, right? Something to that nature. Cultural differences, economical differences, environmental, cultural, nationality, things like that. It's, race. They designed all this for a reason, to overcome the limitations so they can understand unconditional love, because unconditional love is not conditional. It's not restricted. But when we start to look at
Right.
people's appearances or their age or their culture or their religion, that starts to limit. And so twin
Yeah.
flames really designed it this way to surpass those barriers, to be able to look at love in a much different way than maybe what their past lifetimes have taught them. So
Wow.
it's a very unique type of relationship that you have with yourself.
I think that's fascinating because I get so many questions of why can't I be with my twin flame right now? Why is it not working out? Why are we so different? Why do we live so far apart? Why do we have so many conflicts? And so they can feel it on a soul level that there's a connection so deep here that it can't really be severed. I often talk to people who claim that they can feel their twin flame, 3,000 miles away, and what they're going through and who they're with, and whether they're happy or sad. And I've actually heard someone say, I can tell when my twin flame is having sex. I can feel it. And yet we can't be together. So how can there be this crazy, unexplainable, deep connection, and still not be able to be compatible as human partners in this lifetime? So that explains a lot of that. That that really
Yeah,
that really does explain
absolutely.
a lot of that. And I think, going back to what we were talking about how painful it can be to be separated, but also that our human self perceives a lifetime as much bigger and longer than it really is in the whole of existence. And so, yeah, we're just apart for that bit of time in all of existence, but it feels like the end of the world when you don't get to be with the person that you want to be with on that deep connection, that you just continually feel that separation. um, so that explains a lot
Yeah,
of
it is
that.
very painful. Yeah, it is very painful on a physical level, because you are physically, you are apart, but you're energetically and spiritually connected, which then your energy body, your etheric body, as we call it, is connecting on a physical level. So these are like where you get ascension symptoms when you have body pains and things like that as you are evolving as a soul. A lot of the twin flames will feel the ascension symptoms. I actually, I call them twinsy headaches. I know when my twin flame is having a really bad moment in his life, or like if he's going through something tragic, because I have a very like major throbbing in my third eye, and I can almost hear my name being called in my ear. So a lot of twin flames will go through telepathy. They are like talking and conversing with their twin. They'll hear voices. They can hear their twin's voice in their head. A lot of people have dreams, lucid dreams, with their twin flames. So there is some sort of communication going on. And the reason why that is profound is because I think a lot of human beings, or what we're conditioned in society, is to make ourselves be separate. You're different, I'm different, I'm a woman, you're a man. But then when you have this soul connection, and it creates this energy of, what is this, like the unknowing, and then all of a sudden you start to ask yourself, hey, what is this? And then all of a sudden, here comes your spiritual journey, here comes your twin flame journey. So you start to really, that idea of separation starts to dissolve. And that's what's, I love the process of the twin flame journey for that reason. You start
Wow.
to realize that a lot of your ego or a lot of society, cultural, education and things like that that you grew up with is kind of not really the reality of your world. And everybody's spiritual journey is a little bit different, and so it's gonna, lessons are gonna come differently for all of us, and that's kind of how we designed it as twin flames.
So interesting. And there's so much to unpack there. The one thing I want to get back to is this idea of ascension symptoms. First time I've
Yes.
heard that term, and it just really clicked with me. So I want to get back to that. Also, I want to touch on something that you discussed about. Um, well, now I've lost it. That's why I have to
It's
take
okay.
notes because those thoughts go so
It's okay.
fast.
Love it
So let's go
because you're
back
so
to that.
excited, right?
It is the ascension symptoms. Now, you did talk about it in relationship to the
Yes.
twin flame, but that sounds like a term that sort of covers everybody's journey a bit. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So, what I love about your sun tire is that's one of the reasons why I did your sun tire, because as I was going through this spiritual awakening, I realized that my body is connected to my energy body, which are your chakras, your auric field. And so, in order to tap into that, I needed to also understand that my body is connected to these energy meridians or these energy portals. So, your Sentire actually helped me to connect on a deeper level because breath work is very important to connecting to your energy body, to your physical body. Ascension symptoms are really just symbols or signs coming from your body, just showing you where your pain is lying or what's going on. It's also a great sign, from yourself, your higher self, that you're ascending, meaning that you're growing or evolving or leveling up. So usually ascension symptoms will happen right at the ending of a phase. So we all go through phases of learning. So if your karmic lesson is to maybe have confidence, when you start to learn and experience confidence, let's say that you have a hard time speaking your truth, and all of a sudden the universe tests you and says, "Here you go, here's your truth. You have to speak your truth to your mother." You speak your truth, and then all of a sudden your body starts to feel drained.
Mhm.
You have headaches, you're tired, fatigued, lower back pain, things like that, or the draining of your. It just depends on which chakra is being cleared, really. And so you start to experience a lot of these pains because your energy body inside of you is growing. And so then it starts to send signals out to your physical body that that's what's happening, because we don't really have a connection where our body talks to us. We just have an understanding through our brain that something's going on. And so this is the body connecting, to you and just letting you know that, hey, you've leveled up. So during your ascension periods, I usually tell people to take a rest, right? Don't try to learn anything new. Don't try to go out there and be a hero or anything to that nature. Just rest, water, bathing, like, taking a salt bath, crystal healing, things like that, because you're about to go into a next phase and you need that energy so that you can evolve to the next phase of whatever it is that you have to learn. So ascension
Yeah.
symptoms are very, very important, I think, not just in the spiritual awakening journey, but also in the twin flame journey, because you do tap into very big traumas and wounds that a lot of the twins have been carrying through lifetimes and ancestral lineages. And so I think shadow work is very important. And the ascension part to it is just another clue for the person doing the shadow work that you're leveling up, that this is actually
Yeah.
working.
Um, I totally agree. I love that explanation of what they are. It resonates with me on so many levels. And with Centire, you're doing it intentionally, like you're processing intentionally. And so I even have like a 3-page prep sheet that I read to people when we're about to do that kind of work so that some part of them can have some expectation of what's going on or what's happening. But even then, until you really experience it, it's really hard to understand that, or to relate to what's happening, because we are conditioned from day one in this society, in this lifetime, to believe that pain is not okay. It's not acceptable. And people avoid it at all costs, which creates resistance. And so resistance can always, that's why that saying, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, because suffering is just simply the resistance to pain. But when, my
Yeah.
niece got a puppy recently. He's a big pit bull puppy, just the most adorable thing. But he's a monster. He's a giant. They called him Moose, and he's not even 5 months old yet. And he weighs like 43 pounds, and he's only 4.5 months old.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
but every once in a while, you'll see him chew on his legs and whine, but he's growing at a rate that's so, I
Aw.
mean, you can see him pretty much grow overnight. And so you can see him working through those growing pains. And, all we do is rub his little legs for him, and know that this is just something that he's got to go through to get to the size that he's meant to be. And he just does it. He just does it. But the resistance to the pain is what I think causes so much suffering. And if we kind of were meant, or kind of could accept this idea that we are going to have these ascension symptoms, and that they're a good thing, they are showing us that our process is working. They are showing us that we are evolving, and eventually. So do you believe that eventually all twin flames will remerge?
I do. I believe that we are in union now, even if we're physically separated, because the illusion is that we are separate. So I think that's when you first wake up to your twin flame journey, you're really in your ego, and you become very obsessive, or it becomes very controlling, because you're so conditioned by society that if this is the other half of your soul, you must be with them on a physical level. And so you break a lot of those illusions down. And as you go through those growing stages, the ascensions, right, you start to realize that the definition of union to you as a human is very different in the spiritual world and in the higher elevations of dimensions. And so your higher self, when I asked my higher self, like, when am I going to get together with my twin? And her response was,
Sorry
you
about
are
that.
together. You're always together. And so that kind of boggled my mind at first. And then when I started to understand soul connections, and then I started to read more about twin flames and how we are always connected, I think that we're always in union. And that's what I try to really help people with on my Instagram, is to kind of get that illusion or that fear or that obsessive thinking out of their energy body and also their physical body, so that they can understand that you are in union. It's how your perception of union has to change. And I think that this is where it's very important for twin flames to understand it's not just a physical connection you're having with somebody, but it's also a spiritual and energetic connection. Those two components at the very end are very important. So if you're just going to say, hey, this is a physical union and I just want my twin to live with me and be with me and be married to me, then you're not really understanding the concept of what this is on a spiritual level. And so I feel like twins will have a very hard time getting together in union if that mentality continues. Once they start to align to their true self, which is their twin, that's when everything starts to shift and change. When you realize that this person is just a beautiful mirror of who you are on a conscious level or a subconscious level, however your journey is, because everybody's journey is going to be different. When you start to go within and do the introspect work, you're actually helping the other counterpart by pushing on an energetic level. And then that's when, like I said, the shift starts and you start to understand that the union is already there. So I think physical union, yes, to answer your question, a lot of twins are starting to understand that it's time. But many of them will have union on their own. Like right now, I am in union. I know who my twin is. My twin's married, with two children. So union is going to be a little bit difficult for us, right? But I must honor and respect his journey because he has free willed other things in his journey so that he can learn the lessons he came here to learn in the first place. So I can't interfere in any of that because we came here with different lessons as twins. So twin A will have, let's say, lesson 1 through 10. These are all the things I have to learn. And then twin B will have lessons 11 through 20, let's say, right? And there's twins can come in and help each other and teach each other, but they're not allowed to interfere in each other's karma, right? Which is their own karma. But one twin may have said, let's say twin A, I've already learned that in a previous lifetime. I just need to learn it on a deeper level. But it's not my feminine wound that's carrying that, it's my masculine wound that's carrying it. So the predominantly masculine energy will take the lesson on and say, okay, for our masculine energy, we need to learn this lesson. So it really just depends. So
Wow.
yeah, I believe that there
Uh,
will be union.
I think that that goes back to one of the principles that I talk about all the time in a lot of my readings, which is that I believe that because of because there are certain things that we need to learn,
Hmm.
um, what we perceive we want, we don't always get. So there's this principle that says we don't get what we want till we don't need it anymore.
Yes.
So, and that's really hard for people to wrap their head around when they're aching for their twin flame and they can't have them because they believe and feel like if I just had them, then I would feel complete. Then I would feel okay about myself. Then I would be happy. I can feel it. I can feel that it's this separation is the only thing where, if you're depending on the idea that that other person is the thing that's going to complete you, then you're not working on the self-completing ideas that the becoming okayness without them, that I'm okay even
Right.
though I can feel this separation and even though at times it can be painful. I'm okay. I am worthy. I am love. I am light. I'm okay. I'm in this, even in this experience of separateness, I'm still okay. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that we all have to learn. That, and I learned it, part of it in a really weird way. So I was buying into this story that this was in my early 30s, that I had ADD. So I was figuring out what this strange mind, construct that I had was, as far as how the humans,
Yeah.
entertained it. And I was so distraught by the idea that I could be broken and that I function differently and that all my life the expectations of how I should function were never met and I couldn't meet them no matter what because I'm not constructed that way. I wanted one person to understand that, just one person on the planet to have realistic expectations of me instead of unrealistic expectations of me, because I spent my whole
Yeah.
life feeling like I was bullying a giant China shop and I'm going to hurt somebody just by being myself because my energy can be so big. So I had this friend who claimed that she loved and accepted me for exactly the way I was. And I'm like, you don't really know the way I am because I'm holding myself in a lot
Yeah.
around you so that I don't bull you over. But if you read this book about ADD, you'll understand me and then you'll know. And then you'll truly be my best friend. And she refused to read the book. She said, I'm not going to read that. That says that you're flawed and I don't believe that about you. So I'm not going to read that book. And I was devastated. I didn't talk to her for 3 months.
I
I was
love
devastated. But in that 3 months that I wasn't speaking
it.
to her, I was so distraught that it dawned on me that there will not be one other person on the planet that will fully understand me the way that I truly am and then accept me for that. So I have to do it for myself.
Yeah.
No one else is going to read the book.
So
No one else.
I love how you yeah, I love how you brought up the word broken because I think that that is a huge belief system that people in the spiritual world and the twin flame world kind of use as a crutch. I'm broken, so I have to heal myself. I think
Hmm.
the whole concept of broken is an illusion. I think it's based on fear. I think it's based on a lot of things that, like I said, society has taught us, and so it's one of the biggest shadow work that I deal with is there's something wrong with me, and this is why I need this other person to fix me. So the concept of the twin or the other half of my soul is here so I can fix myself. That's not really what the twin flame journey is about. The twin flame journey is to remember that you were made of love and that you are whole. And so, as you dissolve a lot of the stories, that's what we call them on my page, we call them ego stories. And so, as you dissolve these ego stories, as you dissolve these pains that you've created in these lifetimes, you start to realize that a lot of it was your creation. You created the universe around you. You created a lot of these beautiful souls and contracted with these souls to come and teach you some of these major soul lessons. And so you were never broken, and you just experienced things. And so you created an imbalance which then needed to be balanced. So this is where a lot of
Mhm.
the twin flame, journey, as you start to evolve, you realize that the other half of your soul is just coming to show you or to mirror something inside of you, because it's really hard for us to see ourselves. We're in
Yeah.
our body, our eyes are constantly taking pictures of the world and processing it, but we're never able to look at ourselves like, let's say a drone was following us around and we had that observer perspective. We don't have that going on in our day-to-day mindset or in our day-to-day experiences. So here comes this person in your life who starts to reject you, who starts to ghost you, who starts to say harsh things at you. And you're saying to yourself, oh my God, what's going on? Now, some twins will say, see, I'm not a good person, so this person, the other half of my soul, the special one, is treating me this way. And then,
Mhm.
you have another scenario where it's like, well, I am the martyr. I must do this so we can save each other and we can. So you have all sorts of different archetypes that will start to pop up with twins, right? And that's because you're taking that from a past lifetime and you're bringing it here to heal. So the biggest, I think, illusion is that the twin flames, or even the spiritual journey that you're on, um, you first have to conquer the fact that you're not broken, that you're not this, you know, victim or whatever the story is, that you have to sacrifice yourself to do this and wake your twin up. I went through all of that. I went through the obsession, the running, chasing. I went through controlling and manipulating. I did things that I didn't even think I could do as a human being to get this person's attention. And then to come to find out that I actually was dealing with a catalyst twin instead of my true twin. So that was a big wake up call for me, because when somebody hurts you and they're constantly hurting you, the common denominator becomes you. It's You realize that it's not just this person hurting you, but the world around you starts to show you that you're rejecting yourself, that you're not acknowledging yourself, or
Mhm.
it starts to reflect a lot of your negative, you know, um, belief systems. And so then you realize, like, wait a minute, it must be me. There's something going
Mhm.
on here, either in my mind or in my emotions, that I need to tap into. So I think the whole broken idea is a big factor that a lot of twins start off at, and then as you start to evolve and as you start to journey, you realize that you're never broken, right? You were always whole, you just forgot. So it's the forgetting, and that's why it's called an awakening. You start to realize that you've been sleeping, or that you've been, kind of in this daydream or illusion, and then you start to wake up from that illusion and you realize there's something much bigger than this. And it even
Yeah.
goes further than that from the twin flame, because the twin flame in itself is a story as well. So, like, where I'm at, I do know I'm a twin flame, but I do not connect to that story any longer. I just say this is a beautiful mirror of my true essence that reflects towards me, and I take it with love. So I use it as a tool or a resource to help me to heal any other traumas or shadow work that I need to do. So I think a
Yeah.
lot of people look at the twin flame journey as a bad thing in the very beginning, because it's so painful, like you said earlier, with the physical pain. So once
Yeah.
you surpass that physical pain and you start to understand it on an energetic level, then the journey is so beautiful, I have to say.
What would you say to people who think, I don't know what I'm missing. Maybe I am a twin flame. I've never met anybody that I could say that I've connected with on that level in person in real life, but somehow I just don't feel complete within myself. And all this talk about twin flames somehow resonates with me in some level. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe my problem is that I have this pull towards something that I don't even know yet. I think there probably are people out there who might be feeling like that and wondering if there's some sort of twin flame. Is there a way for them to know? Is there a way for them to help release pain and accept their journey? Or what would you say to them?
I, well, first and foremost, not everybody is a twin flame. Twin flames are very, very rare. So if you are resonating with the idea of a twin flame, what I would recommend is that you also look up an empath or a highly sensitive being, because you may just be an empath, where you're sensing energy on different levels. There's different types of empaths. Like Kelly, you're an empath, I'm an empath because we sense energy, right? And so
Hmm.
there's animal empaths like Kelly is, there's people empaths, she's also a people empath. So I would look at other aspects of who you could be before you jump the conclusion of being a twin flame. There's only a certain number of twin flames out there, and we come in waves. So I think that the last wave is actually here, so there are no more twin flames being born. If anything, the new wave of souls that are being brought in are highly advanced souls that already know who they are. So the twin
Hmm.
flames actually designed to forget and then remember. So a lot of these little children that are being born now, my belief system is that they already know who they are and they know what their mission is. So they've already kind of picked their parents out who are also on a spiritual journey. And so, you know,
I
and
tell a
that
lot
could
of
be,
those parents
yes.
that
And a lot
they
of those
might be
parents,
hard to parent.
yes.
Those kids might be harder to parent because they know who they are and they come in
Yes.
already knowing their equality and they're like, what are you trying to tell me what to do for? We're equal
Yeah.
here.
And
We're like,
I
yeah,
send
they,
those parents your way. I just want to
yeah,
let you know, I send those parents your way because you're very good with children, and you're very connected to
yeah,
spirit babies, and you have the experience, and I think for many different aspects, not just connecting with spirits and angels, but you have a way of connecting the soul to itself. I can just I'm a person who taps into your shadow and says, this is what you need to work on. So I'm
right.
called what a lot of people call me is the way shower. I show people this is what it is and this is your way. So now you got to do the work. So I'm considered a messenger. But to go back to your question, I think that it would be more better for somebody to kind of not just tunnel vision it and say I'm a twin flame just because I resonate with this, and this, but to look at other things. You might be a psychic, you might be a medium, you might be a Reiki healer that just works with energy. So tap into other things and just see if the twin flame journey is really for you or if it's not. If you are a twin flame, you actually know. There's no questioning it, there's no hesitation. The minute somebody said, you're about to meet your twin flame, I didn't ask what a twin flame was. I said, well, I did, but I said, who is a twin flame? And she said, it's the other half of your soul. I didn't ask, am I a twin flame? I said, who
Right.
is my twin flame? So I kind of knew I was a twin,
Yeah.
deep down inside. So I would recommend that you do your research, watch twin flames on YouTube. There are many couples that are in union and they talk about it very openly, how to be a twin, what it consists of. It's very, very challenging. So it's not an easy relationship because you are dealing with a counterpart that is the shadow aspect of you or the light aspect of you. So it's going to be very contradicting. You're going to want to go to the beach and they're going to want to go in the woods, right? And so it's like, what, like, and it's going to take a lot of energy for you to understand each other on a soul level, right? And I think that for people who resonate with the twin flame journey, you have to also realize that there are different types of twins. You're not going to meet your twin the very first go around, especially if you have a lot of energy of thinking that you're broken or you have this energy of
Hmm.
I have to heal. So you'll meet what's called a false twin or a karmic twin. And then once you start to, evolve and learn the lessons from that twin will leave your life, and all of a sudden a catalyst twin will come in, and that catalyst twin will wake you up to your spiritual journey. and then that catalyst will move away, or the person will move away, and then here comes your true twin when you're ready. So there's
Mm.
stages to this beautiful process, and it can take however long it needs to for both, because it's for the greater good of both souls or all souls that are involved. So just because you're ready doesn't mean your twin's ready, or
Mhm.
the people who are involved in your life to get you guys there are ready. So you have to understand that even though I don't believe in time, there's this concept of divine timing that does have to play out. And I just call it orchestrated sequential events. So I look at time as things that have to come into play before everything comes into union. So it's because your frequency with your twin or the frequency around you two are not aligned to union or the frequency of union. Everything is
Yeah.
energy based, I think, on the spiritual journey. So it
Yeah.
really has to do with your thoughts, your emotions, and where you are on this journey, where you are in your life to get you guys there. So
Very
do
cool.
research. Research is so fun. You're using your masculine energy when you're researching. It's a very linear type of energy when you're in your
Yeah.
masculine. So your feminine goes with the flow, right? But
Right.
yeah, so when you
That's
start to do the
interesting.
research, you're healing your masculine without even knowing it.
Right. When I was a kid, I thought that I had a soul partner out there somewhere on the planet, um, because I had these conversations in my head with beings and
Yes.
didn't know anything about being psychic. Just knew there was someone out there somewhere that I was communicating with.
Yeah.
So I thought, probably as a child, without knowing the terms twin flame, I thought I had a soulmate out there. I thought I had someone out there I was supposed to find and meet. And because I remember distinctly at times thinking, am I talking to somebody who's on the other side of the planet right now? Like I'm having a conversation in my head with somebody I think is probably on the other side of the planet. And so I had little hope that I would ever meet my soulmate because I was sure that they were on the other side of the planet. But so going back to that question of how when people are experiencing these, something's going on. There's something's going on. They're connecting, communicating, or sensing energy or consciousness beyond their own. Um, they might misperceive that to be my soulmates out there somewhere, which is what I thought it was. And I never
Absolutely.
ever, I never met that person because that person never really existed. It was all just me connecting with entities and consciousness. So I think that's a really great way to explain it, Sunshine. That people can, don't automatically assume you're a twin flame because you're having that pull. You're feeling incomplete. You think there's
Right.
something out there that you're communicating with, and you probably are. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you are
Yes.
or have a twin flame. And when you said when you're a twin flame, you know it, everyone I've ever talked to
Yeah.
has said that. They've like, there's
Yeah.
no doubt
You
in my
know,
mind. I know.
and as a twin flame, you know that there's something bigger than you, because
Right.
when you start to dissolve that running, chasing idea and the ego starts to break down, you start to realize that there's something more than just this person and why this person came into your life, that the universe is doing something behind the scenes on a greater level. And then a lot of twin flames, I have to say, have spiritual gifts that they don't hone in on. They just concentrate on this twin, and really as a twin flame you really do have a gift. So it's either a psychic gift or it is some sort of energy gift, and you're here to actually share that gift with the world. So a lot of people, and I'm not trying to say we're special or anything to that nature, please don't misunderstand me in any way, but we have something on a higher level when it comes to life mission. We said not only are we going to come down and we're going to heal a lot of the shadow energy
Right.
for us and the collective, but we're also going to have an ability to where we're going to be able to share this energy with the outside world. And so a lot of the feminines and masculines out there that are twins do have psychic abilities, are able to tap into energy, but they're not aware of that because they're too much into this energy of the twin, the physical aspect of
Yeah.
the twin.
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
it's very important to remind people that if you are claiming to be a twin flame, that it's not just about this person in front of you, it's actually about yourself on a higher level of consciousness. And you're here to help the entire planet, whether that is just helping the community around you or just helping people in whatever way, self-serving, just charity, donations, just staying in that high vibration is even a gift. And I think that as twin flames, you realize that there's something more.
Hmm.
So if you're claiming to be a twin and you're like, well, I don't have any gifts, you might not be a twin, and that's okay. It's not that, the universe is saying, I made these beings specialer than you. No, that's not
Hmm.
it. You also have a role in the collective to play as being a soul, helping
Right.
other twins, helping, the collective consciousness to raise its frequency
Right.
on this planet. So
Yeah. I get people all the time wanting a reading because they want to know what their purpose is.
I
And
love that.
yeah, and so as I'm happy to do the card readings, but I explain to them what I believe. And then it usually sort of plays out during the reading for them in that number one, if you feel that you're here for a reason, then you are.
Yes.
So people who don't really have much more that they want to do on this life except to go ahead and work and then retire and then just sort of go to the bingo club and just that's their life and that's makes them happy and that's what they want, and they don't have a sense that they're here for a reason. They're here to play that out, and they're also here to
Yeah.
be a good friend to someone, to be a good parent to someone. There's a really huge role in just that. And but when you have that something inside of you that's going, I'm here for something. I know I'm supposed to do something, I just don't know what it is. And if there again is the resistance, because when you're ready for your
Mhm.
purpose finds you. You don't have to find it. You're and I also heard it
Absolutely.
explained this way, and I think this is a really beautiful way to explain it. Every you're already doing your purpose whether you think so or not. You came here designed to do it. It's in
Yes.
every interaction that you have with people. You're doing it every day, all day long. Your what you're looking for is a way to define it as a mission. So now I want my mission. What's my mission? What's my mission?
Yeah.
Well, your mission can be on one of a billion different things. This is mine. This is my mission. This is one of the ways that I can assert
Yes.
my purpose here on the planet. But I think that this word desire is a Latin word, two Latin words really, of the Father, de sire, or of the King, or of the
Yes.
Father, or of the Spirit. So when you have that desire in your heart to do something in a higher calling, that's means you have a purpose. You're going to find a mission. You don't have to freak out and worry about it and how am I going to make that happen? I won't feel completed until it's done. If you can just work on what you're talking about, work on the shadow work on acceptance, work on being, okay, even before you get there. It's like or even before you're actually doing it, because the process of getting there can be just as satisfying as actually doing it. Just
I
beingness.
love that.
I had
Yeah.
a client the other day. She kept saying, I'm just so stuck. I'm so stuck. I'm so stuck. I just want to get unstuck. Give me a centaur. Help me get unstuck and stuck. Okay, well, that's all fine and good. But what's wrong with being stuck? Like, if I were stuck in paradise, I'd be like, cool, leave me stuck here for a while. That's great. This is awesome. If I were stuck on
Right.
Hawaii, I wouldn't
It's your
mind so much.
perception.
Yeah, but if
It's your
you're not in
perception of
the
being stuck.
yeah. And if you're not in the okayness of where you are, and you're in argument with it, then this is not okay. It's
Right.
really hard to move anywhere from there anyway. So the first step is just to be okay. And that is a really hard one to wrap your head around. It goes back to that question about how can twin flames be okay without each other? Because in that stuckness, it's the same thing. I'm not going to be happy till I do my purpose. I'm not going to be happy until, but it's kind of the other way around. When you finally love and accept yourself and you're in agreement with what is, well then bam, you
Yes.
suddenly invent a mission, something I want to do, something that feels fun and exciting and contributive and makes you, and it feels rewarding. It does, but it's not the thing that
Absolutely.
you need it. It's not the thing that completes you. And So I love that idea of what you said. If you're a twin flame, you know it. If you have a purpose, you know it. You can feel it. You
Yes.
have a draw to it. If you
Yeah.
don't, if you just want to retire and go to the bingo club, and that is complete for you. So we also need to
Yeah.
learn to accept each other's role in this space and to say, well, how come you're not out there trying to save the planet? Well, they're not meant to. That's not their job. That's your job
Absolutely.
if you
Yeah.
feel compelled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of the twin flames that wake up first, as we say, waking up meaning that you have this sense of just knowing that there's this connection. It's usually the divine feminines that wake up and they want to immediately rush to this person who they think is their twin and wake them up because it's their mission, and it's not.
Right.
It's not your mission to wake up your twin because they have their
No.
own journey, they have their own way of waking up, and they
Yeah.
also have to learn on their own what it feels like to be in their skin, what it feels like to be in their mind, what it feels like to be in their emotions, just like
Right.
you did during this process. And I love the
Yeah.
fact that you brought up that this polarity or this contrast in the world, because we need the beautiful earth that we live on is made up of polarity. So there's yin and yang, negative, positive, and so we need people out there who are just kind of doing nothing, right? Just
Mhm.
living human existence. Because as we're spiritually waking up, there needs to be a balance in this on this planet where spirituality versus the human journey in a sense. So
Experience. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that
Yeah.
as you and I, like light workers, we know we're in a human body, but we're
Right.
spiritual beings. And then there's people who don't believe that at all, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's
No.
perspective and belief system is going to be very different, and that's because
And
they're on their own journey. And
yeah.
there's young
And they're
souls out there, so young
yeah.
souls are learning their own thing, while old
Yeah.
souls are learning different things. So
And then for them, that's a lot of work. They're
yes,
doing their job.
absolutely,
You
going
know,
to work
I
every
mean, I
day. Yeah.
yeah. There's um this idea that if we don't understand what something is, then it's not valid, and that I mean, this happens with nature too. I remember reading a story about how the bears of California just got slaughtered because people thought they were nothing but evil. They didn't understand the ecosystem
Wow.
and how they were doing their job. They just thought they're dangerous. Let's kill them. So um, and that really shifted the ecosystem because that happened. Well, so and then even microorganisms that we think aren't doing something, every single one of them is doing something very, very important. So every person is as well. So I
Absolutely.
wanted to just review
I
some
mean,
of the questions. Go
I
ahead.
love the fact that you said that. I love the fact that you said that because they did research on an amoeba, and an amoeba has a consciousness. It really
Yeah.
knows, like, it knows that it exists. It might not
Yeah.
know who it is, right? It might not know it's an amoeba because we're labeling it as
Right.
that, but it knows, like, its own purpose. It knows that it
Right.
has to eat, and it knows it has to multiply and whatever
Yeah.
its function is. So,
Right.
I love that
Everything
you
and
said that.
everyone has a function. And we don't,
Yeah,
even the people who we think are doing harm out there, they're here for a reason. They're
absolutely.
spotlighting things, they're creating contrast, they're challenging people, they're growing people, they're doing their job. So I want to
Yes.
touch on some of the questions that we didn't get to last time. Let's see if we have some.
Okay.
This is okay, good. Yep. This one. Where'd it go? Nope, this one. Okay. I'm feeling a complete, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but just to round it off, a feeling of complete emptiness happen when you lose your soulmate, question mark. I feel that since my husband passed. And I've gotten
Oh,
done a lot of readings for people where I can see a marked difference between losing somebody who's just a life partner and losing somebody who's a a deeper connection or a stronger connection, a twin flame or a soulmate. So I think it
I think I think it's very, I think that once you're connected to somebody and you have a physical connection and a spiritual connection and an energetic connection, that bond, whether it is separating, physically, breaking up or somebody passing away, I think is that soul loss. It's that soul
Mhm.
separation, just like a twin. When we split before we reincarnated here, it's that same pain that we go through.
Right.
So what I would suggest to this beautiful being is that, he or she can connect to the loved one through meditation,
Yeah.
through a psychic reading or a mediumship reading, just to kind of, or even a hypnosis. To tell you honestly, I've heard a lot of people connecting to past loved ones through hypnosis because they've
Yeah.
shared many lifetimes together.
Yeah.
If it's a sense of closure, I think that, I look at death a little bit differently. I think that we, as a soul, don't die. We just feel our energy differently. So when somebody passes in my life, I can connect to them on an energetic level versus physically connecting to them. So
Yeah.
there's different
Yeah.
ways of finding closure. I think closure is a big thing, even when you are not dealing with somebody who's passed on and you're dealing with separation. One of the last stages of the twin flame journey is to surrender and release. So that to me
Mhm.
is closure. So you have
Mhm.
to get to a place of understanding on a higher level of thought why this happened, and learn whatever the lesson is.
Right.
So I think everybody goes through a death process differently, and whatever that experience needs to be for her, it may just be the closure that she needs with the other
Right.
half of her soul, in a sense, because she
Yeah.
really bonded with this person on an energetic level. And
Yeah.
that's what we all I think that's what we all kind of want on these twin flame journeys,
Mhm.
and it's like I said, it's very rare. So
Yeah.
they're beautiful,
There's
they're things to feel though.
Yeah, it's painful. And I feel for my clients when I'm doing a reading for them and I can feel that bond between the
Oh
spirit
yeah.
that's coming through and them. Um and I want to I do work with children and I've worked with children for a very long time and I want to offer an analogy for people because this is what a toddler experiences when mom leaves for the day. And
Yes.
to that toddler, when they're crying, they mean it. It hurts. They're upset. They're in pain because they're not understanding object permanence or the passing of time or that mom will come back. They have to experience that over and over and over again to be sure that they're going to come back at the end of the day. But they're knowing, even
Right.
then, they know they're going to be gone for a long time. And yet, as adults, we want them to know it, and we keep reassuring them. But I'll see you in a few hours. I'll see you in a few hours. Well, they're thinking, so what? That's a few hours. And in the spirit realm, when we lose someone
Mhm.
in spirit, it's sort of the same thing. We're going to see them again someday. You're going to see your loved one again someday. But what you are experiencing is the separation during that time process. So, spirit tells me all the time, hey,
Right.
enjoy your decades here. I'll see you in a minute. Because when you finally do go there, that passing of time will feel just like a minute. But in the meantime, you're hurting. So
Absolutely.
let's learn to deal with our emotions and process and manage our
Right.
emotions. And so there's a couple things that you do with the toddler when mom has to leave. And I think the healthiest thing to do is empathize. They are really experiencing something here that's painful for them. So empathize
Right.
and then distract. So get on with your life, go ahead and honor your feelings and your emotions and your grief and do whatever process. Cry when you feel sad. Write about it in your journal. Talk to somebody about
Right.
it when you need to. Go to those grief support groups if you need to release something and if that helps you. And then in the meantime, build as many happy moments as you can. And so yeah, go down to the bingo club and play for the afternoon or call a friend and say, hey, I just need to get out of the house. Take those action steps because when you find yourself laughing, I promise you that your soulmate or your loved one on the other side is happy for you. You're not doing a disservice to them
Oh,
by finding
absolutely.
happy moments. And that when you start building those happy
And I
moments,
love the analogy.
yeah. So because I think we
I
we
love the
should honor our
analogy
pain.
because right. I love the analogy because you actually are touching on a very important thing, is that that's when the trauma starts for a child, is that whenever they start to feel that energy of disconnect from their soul or disconnect from feeling love, that's when the traumas begin or the wounds
Yeah.
start to develop. And so it's very important, I think, to touch base on that, is that going back to the question, she may find that as she's working through this closure, that there is a surfacing of a shadow energy that maybe she didn't touch base on or didn't even realize that was dormant or suppressed in her, of
Yeah.
maybe just feeling this sense of, it could be rejection, it could be abandonment, or anything to that nature that she may have not experienced recently, but maybe in a childhood or even in a past life.
I totally
So,
agree.
yeah, I
I
love the
totally
fact that
agree.
you said that.
Yeah, and, hold on, I have one thought I wanna add to that, I don't wanna lose it again. Uh, I just thought of it earlier before, and I didn't wanna lose it, because it kinda fit with the toddler analogy as well. Oh, and the original trauma, kinda hate it when that happens. Now I've
That's
lost my
okay.
thought again.
But I
Blah.
love how you said that it's very important to acknowledge a lot of your emotions,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we live in a very masculine energy right now in the world. A lot of it is very masculine, that we're dealing with. It's very linear thinking, straight. This is
Right.
A, this is B, which equals C. I think that it's very important now in our society that we start to talk about emotions. We start to talk about our feelings, and
Yeah, I know what it was.
yeah,
It was that because a lot of people, when they lose a loved one, and I've experienced this myself. I had my one true love in my life early on, and when I was separated from that, I grieved for like 28 years.
mm,
And I had this ball of pain inside of me that was about this loss.
right,
Um, that I was unwilling to let go because when it would start to bubble up and when I would start to feel that deep aching pain of separation and loss, I would hold on to it. I'd stuff it back down because my perception was that's all I have left of them. And if I let go of that, I lose them all over again. So a lot of times people are holding on to their grief and pain because that's they think the pain is the connection. It feels like they're going to lose that person
yes,
all over again if they allow this pain to go. But I promise, I mean, I do this over and over again when we do shadow work, when we do its entire work, when somebody's letting go or moving through a grief, once that pain is released a little bit, they can have loving, fond, happy memories of their times with these people and think and talk about them without pain. And it actually makes you feel even more connected to them, not less. And you were touching on how can people, connect with their loved ones. Well, move through some of that pain. You'll have a much stronger connection, even though it
absolutely,
feels very
yeah,
difficult to do because it feels like you're going to lose them all over again. But I promise on the other side of that, it's not. You're not losing them all over again. You're letting go of some of the darker, heavier, painful energy so that you can have a higher, more joyful connection. And they can come through in dreams. And, a lot of loved ones don't want to come through in a dream because what happens in a dream is you start believing that they're alive. And then when you wake up, you lose them all over
yes,
again. You know, so until you've
yes,
moved
that
through
grief
some of the
process.
healing process, uh, uh, then the connection is even harder to do. And when you move through that, so my
Yeah,
suggestion would just be go for it. Go through as much healing as you can do as quickly as you want to do it, letting go of some of that dark, heavy energy, and then the connection with your loved one will be much easier and more joyful to remember and to connect.
absolutely. And even if you're this also ties in with separation with your twin. I think that is a beautiful way of surrendering and releasing the twin. It's almost like that's kind of what I had to do. I had to pretend that the twin physically died.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of do a funeral in my head and just say this is now over. And when I surrendered and released it, all of a sudden my gifts started to accelerate. The energy and the vibration around me started to align with different things that I was really meant to go on, because a lot of this low vibrational energy will hold you back from your life purpose,
Yeah.
from having a happy life, from having joyful connections and things like that, because you're holding on to a memory, right? And
Hmm.
that memory contains a feeling or an emotion that you're tapping into, but that emotion is not what's happening in this moment of time. It happened in the past, and that's where a lot of people, I think, get confused. they think, oh, I'm sad. But no, it's the memory that you're holding on to that's creating the sadness. So when you start to
Yeah, yeah.
release that memory, like Kelly's saying, that's when everything starts to open up. So I love that.
Yeah, it really does. It always makes it better, never worse. You're not losing
Absolutely.
more by letting go. And
Yes.
the words letting go, the reason I developed this entire technique is to teach people what that means and how to do it. People tell you let it go all the time,
I
but they
know.
don't tell you how to do it. Let it go means allow it to leave. Allow it to leave. That's what letting
Yes.
it go means. It doesn't mean forgetting, ignoring, pretending it doesn't exist. It means to allow your body to release something. Let it go. Allow it. Allow it go. Leave. So, wow, this has just been amazing. Let's just double check to see if there's any last minute questions. Since you reincarnate with the same soul group each lifetime, is your soulmate always the same soul in each lifetime, or can it be other souls within your soul group? What a great question.
Oh no, you're going to connect with different soulmates to learn different lessons. You will come back and you will connect with some of the same people or beings, but you will also get to meet different beings, I think, to learn different lessons. So you also have free will. So a lot of like beings that you may not have contracted with before you reincarnated may pop up because of a choice that you've decided to make, right? That was
Wow.
not kind of planned out in your life journey. So I think the answer to that question in my belief system would be you're constantly meeting new beings, you're also meeting some old beings, and it's just this beautiful process of like just growing and evolving so you can get to
Yeah.
your next evolution or whatever that is.
I think that the physical um, the human beingness of community and network groups and friendships is very similar, and
Yes,
I think it sort of mirrors the soul.
absolutely.
And sometimes when a certain relationship no longer serves you, it's time to move on, and that can happen as well
Yes.
with
Yeah.
your soul. Okay, Carrie says, what if you have a dream that one of your friends is with you while meeting your spirit guides, and then and question mark, and then soul sisters question mark?
Yes,
So,
maybe.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's a connection there. I mean, she could just be. So my belief system is that we are all mirrors of each other. So Kelly is actually my like somebody who would be the version of me that is the future version of me, because she you practices mediumship and does things that I could do. I'm just not choosing to do it in this lifetime. So she's the future version of me, and there's people around me who are the younger versions of me, and then there's people that are in my life that are the present versions of me. So I look at everybody as a beautiful reflection in a mirror. And so this person that you're dreaming of that shows up with your higher self could be another mirror of you. It doesn't mean it's your
Mm,
twin, it just means it's a mirrored soul, right? It
love
could
it.
just be that this person is here to reflect in some way a fragment of who you are that you haven't really seen, or that is not popping up in this lifetime, right? So it's just another
Wow,
a soul mate that you've come here to meet.
that's awesome. Um, I think we've answered pretty much all of them. All
Yay.
right. Well, oh my gosh, Sunshine, what a fascinating topic. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on with me
you.
again. And you are just a wealth of information. Tell us again how people can contact you or what services you offer and how they can learn more. Go ahead and share.
Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to do this. Number two, I love it. So thank you
Oh,
for,
good.
yeah, thank you for this. You guys can find me on YouTube. I am on YouTube. I do twin flame readings, and just try to kind of get into that community so I can help other people. But I'm mostly on Instagram, Sunshine Love Tarot. You guys can come on. I do live free readings. I also do shadow work, so you guys got to be prepared for shadow work. And we have lots and lots of fun. I have a great tribe of Sunshine followers, and we're very open and we're very honest. And it's a beautiful space where there's no judgment. It's just nothing but love and understanding because we're all going through this beautiful spiritual awakening, this twin flame journey. Not everybody's a twin, and so we accept each other as we are, but we also are here to evolve. And so come on, Sunshine Love Tarot Instagram, and just have fun with us.
Sounds great. Thank you so much
Thank
again. I
you
really, really
again. Thank you,
appreciate
Kelly.
all of it. Fascinating. I could talk to you all
Yeah,
day. It
that's
was
what I said,
amazing.
and I was so excited to see you the other day too with the girls. So,
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool. I'm back in Boise now, but I'll be back out there in October. So,
so October, you're coming to my house to do a Sentire, just so you know.
oh, cool. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yay. Is that just an individual or a group?
No, actually, the group of girls that you met with, so we
Uh-huh.
have a couple more coming. So I convinced everybody to do a Sentire with you.
How cool. I can't wait. That's going to be
That'll work
so
on a whole
exciting.
different level, girl.
Very good. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. You have a
I
wonderful
appreciate
day.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And listeners, thanks for tuning in. Join me on Psychic Medium Kelly McClure on Facebook. And you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram as well. Thank you guys so much. And stay in spirit.